So if you go on the internet right now, you can find a ton of camera comparisons putting the S10 up against another expensive smartphone. But let's be realistic. At the end of the day, what we want to know is how good this phone compares against the Poco F1. This could possibly be the most important camera comparison of 2019. So first up, we have an outdoor pic. Sky's looking nice and blue on both pictures. Now here's the thing between both of these photos. The S10 Plus, slightly more exposed, tends to hit the pink or purple tones. Pocophone F1 really hit the greens hard. The fact of the matter is this house is a little bit on the pink side. Realistically, it'd be somewhere in the middle between both of these phones, but overall, I think the S10 looks slightly better. So in this shot, I wanted to show depth of field. I actually had to take the photo like 5 times on the Poco F1 and it just couldn't get the brown leaves in focus. The S10 nailed it on the first shot and it looks absolutely awesome. But here's the funny thing. If you look at the exposure between both photos, the Poco F1 actually did a much better job of exposing the photo than the Galaxy S10 Plus. With this photo, it's pretty even again. There are some minor differences though. S10, if you look at the snow, slightly cooler tones. If you look at the Pocophone, slightly better exposure. But once you punch into the actual flower itself, they're pretty even. If anything, the S10 is mixing cooler tones in the background and warmer tones surrounding the flowers themselves. I'm gonna give this photo a tie. So this photo is pretty cool. We have a bunch of shadows hitting the sides of the building, give them their own unique look. The S10 definitely hitting their cooler tones. It is slightly overexposed. You can see that on the brick. The brick is just way too yellow and you're losing some of that detail in the brick itself. Same holds true for the windows on top of the brown building. Now, because the S10 is overexposing the shot, there are some advantages. For example, if you look at the wheel on the truck or on the van, the Mercedes van, you could actually see the little rivets going around the wheel, whereas on the Poco F1, it's more of just a dark circle, harder to see overall. Now, when you zoom into both photos, if you're looking at the SUV in the background, they both aggressively over-sharpen them, but it is more over-sharpened on the Galaxy S10. So this is just a simple shot of a fire hydrant. I wanted to test to see how it deals with yellows or just one solid color. I actually like the Pocophone better. Again, has those nice warm tones. If you look at the snow, it actually looks like white snow. The Galaxy S10 looks great too, but I find the fire hydrant not to be as contrasty or vibrant compared to the Poco F1. And if you look at the snow, it's hitting those cooler tones a little bit more. So it's time for some indoor shots, and I have this beautiful, beautiful cock in the kitchen, and it's just standing erect, waiting for a photo. And as you can see, the Galaxy S10 totally destroyed the Pocophone F1 in this situation. I literally took this shot 3 times, and the Pocophone F1 had a hard time of putting the cock's head in focus. The vibrancy, the colors just look much better on the Galaxy S10. Now we're in the supermarket, we're taking a picture of some fruit. Both phones did a great job. The Pocophone F1 looks a lot more realistic, exactly what the fruit looked like. It is bumping up the contrast, but it's keeping the color tones kind of neutral. The Galaxy S10, you can see that the orange is a little bit more orange than the oranges on the Poco F1, but instead of bumping up the contrast on the pears, it decided to introduce some yellow tones to give it more of a warmer vibe. So again, we're indoors, and as you can see, the S10 again is bumping up the yellows in the shot, giving the picture a very yellow, warm feel to it. The Poco F1 is hitting the reds a little bit too much, but the Poco F1 actually looks more realistic than the Galaxy S10. I'll be honest with you, even though the Pocophone F1 looks more realistic, I personally prefer the way the Galaxy S10 looks. So when it comes to nighttime photography, this is when the Pocophone completely falls apart. The S10 is definitely not the leader in nighttime photography, but obviously it's significantly better than the Pocophone. You can actually see the houses in the background perfectly. You can see the details around the windows itself, whereas on the Pocophone, it's completely blacked out, making it hard to see the background. Same holds true for my face. Now, when it comes to selfies, the Poco F1 completely destroyed this image. I literally took this photo 4 times, and every single time it blew out the background way too much. You can't even make out any details in the house because it's just way too overexposed. My skin is pasty white. It looks like I just came out of the basement 50 years later and saw sun for the first time. And there's a lot of smoothing going on my skin between both phones. Now, the Galaxy S10 is not perfect either. There's a lot of skin smoothing going on, but the photo looks good. So again, the exact same shot, but this time with live focus or portrait mode on. And as you can see, the Pocophone did exactly the same thing. Completely blew out the background to the point where anything in there is not recognizable. So definitely live focus is better on the Galaxy S10. So turning things to the rear camera, this is live focus or portrait mode on the Poco F1. I think they look pretty even. If anything, If I had to choose one, I'd give the slight edge to the Galaxy S10 because my son's face looks sharper because it uses aggressive sharpening and the color tones are a little bit cleaner. All right, so here's the front-facing camera of both of these devices. Based on my first impressions, just looking at the screen, it looks like the camera on the Galaxy S10 Plus is better. It's hard to say for sure. And last up, we have 1080p footage. They both actually do a pretty good job, but video does look better on the Galaxy S10. Stabilization is pretty even. Steady shot is on for the Galaxy S10, but the Pocophone is surprisingly holding up its own. But when it comes to 4K video, that's when the Pocophone completely falls apart. The stabilization on the camera is non-existent, and you can see that the Galaxy S10 is completely destroying it. So that pretty much wraps up this camera comparison. Obviously, the Galaxy S10 takes the better photos, but in daytime, it's really hard to tell the difference. The Pocophone actually holds up its own and sometimes actually takes better photos than the Galaxy S10. It's kind of neat to check these things out because at the end of the day, one phone's $350, the other one is $1,000. Obviously, the Galaxy S10 has a lot more features like wide landscape shot, you can zoom it up to 2 times, and some other camera tricks, but that's the difference in price you're paying between an expensive phone and a lower end phone. It always comes down to the camera. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this camera comparison. Let me know your favorite results in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.